got Maori, native New Zealander, blood, and I went to a family gathering around Christmas when I was younger, the family being on my mother's side, where I get the Maori blood from. The gathering was way up in North New Zealand, which is mostly just Maori land and is rural as all fuck. No shit. As me and the family pull into the farm it's being held on, there's a boar on a spit some of the uncles, adults were just called aunties and uncles, had caught earlier in the day using spears and knives. Anyway, there's a creek, stream that runs through the property, which the kids went down to and swam most days. A lot of the time we'd all let ourselves float down a while on inflatables or just by the current. At one point on the bank on the farm side was about 2 meters high or so, but there was a small ledge about halfway down that you could get down on from the top but not the bottom. Me and 2 other boys reckoned it would be a brilliant idea to use that ledge for a ling. We told the adults and they just shrugged and told us to knock ourselves out. So me and these 2 guys go to this ledge a fucking bunch, using those hand casters and having fun chilling in this picturesque place surrounded by rolling hills, green fields and bushlands. Us 3 boys even found a cow place further down the stream no one else went to where we could hang. But then it got weird, a few times out swimming all the kids got a little anxious, and there was a couple of times we could swear we saw a figure standing on the far bank as we floated down the stream. It got to the point where me and the 2 guys were outling, we hadn't caught anything so far, which was weird because this stream should have been essentially untouched, and we saw a shadowy figure step out and walk towards us on the opposite bank, then began walking across the water. Of course we shit ourselves and book it out of there. I remember being in complete terror. We told some of the older adults, elders about this and they seemed a little concerned, even when they dismissed it as it was probably just the farmer from the next property. But unless that farmer was Jesus from the shadow realm I didn't buy that shit. Anyway us boys had only been iling during daylight hours and we wanted to go at night because that's the best time to catch eels. One of the older cousins, early 20s, said he's come along and about 6 girls begged to come along too. So 10 people go out at night to catch some eels, all crammed onto this tiny ledge. We're there for a few hours, the girls complaining about being bored while us boys told the 2 STFU, worried they'll scare off the eels. That's when one of the girls gets a tug on her line. A tug that nearly pulled her off the ledge into the inky black waters beneath us. One of the girls turned on a light, but that's all over the place because they're all screaming and freaking out and shit, but I noticed something long and really thick being pulled out of that water, no indication of ending. An immense L head eventually crests the ledge. This motherfucker was huge, slightly thicker than the one in the picture and way longer. This thing is a meter out of the water and still looks to have most of its body in the water. But this fat fucker's head is only over the ledge for a couple of seconds when it lets out a fucking roar, a little like a dog bark but way fucking louder, and the line snaps as it slides back over the ledge and splashes into the water. We're stunned, and the older cousin tells us we all have to go back. So we walk back through the dark, a little disappointed, but also a little frightened. We swim in that creek, and a giant eel that fucking roars lives in it. When we got back we told the elders our story excitedly, with them nodding and wowing, but they didn't seem surprised and actually seemed relieved, but told us we weren't to eel in the stream anymore. After that, we didn't see the shadow man again, but not long before my family left whilst out swimming I felt something thick and slimy slide past my leg when we were near the ledge. And looking back on it I'm convinced as to what that eel was. In Maori legend, folklore there is a creature called the Tani Whare, which guards certain areas in nature or is a guardian for tribes and sub-tribes in which case is called koshiki. They generally take the form of sharks if in the sea, or an eel in fresh water. I think that the elders were concerned the shadow man was an evil spirit or ghost and made an offering or summoned a Tani Whare to protect us kids, and the eels was it giving us a warning, specifically that bark. Other stories I've heard about Tani Whare have mentioned the roaring sound as well. I want to go back there in a couple of years and try and make an offering, even if it isn't a ton Nefar and is just a Neel. That bitch has to be about 8100 years to be that big, and deserves respect.